LaSalle marks a historic season in the court, on the field, and in the pool. Hello, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Jake Smolinski. Volleyball clinches 5 straight wins to kick off their season. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to the first episode of SportsLine's 19th season. We have a huge show for you this week with recaps on all of your favorite fall sports and the addition of 2 new ones.
And later, one of our reporters tries something new because we're trying to stay hip and cool and up with the times.
But first, let's take a look at what went down this past week for our athletes. To kick off the season, the cross-country team opened up at the Big 5 Invitational at the Belmont Plateau. LaSalle sent a quartet of runners for the women's 4K. Freshman Grace Mancini debuted in 20th place finish in 15.5 minutes. Also making an impression is freshman Alyssa Quinn, who snagged 28th, just 15 seconds behind Mancini. LaSalle's junior Dylan Titan came up big on the 6K course for the men as he landed himself a spot in 9th place. Titan finished in with a time of 19 minutes and 18.5 seconds. And it was not long until another explorer, Daniel Kosegoff, crossed the finish line, placing 23rd and finishing with the pack in 20 minutes and 2.4 seconds.
And the men's water polo team opened their inaugural season last weekend at the Navy Open. The Explorers struggled, losing 3 in a row before capturing their first win. Despite their rough start, the Explorers came back to defeat Cal Tech 16-9 at the end of the weekend. Their historic victory against the Beavers was the first ever water polo W for the LaSalle. Freshman Jeff Brady dominated the pool, scoring 8 goals against Cal Tech. Fellow freshmen Alex Pitcher and Joey DeFusco scored 3 goals apiece, while Jacob Damash scored a pair of his own. Goalie Owen Llewellyn made 11 saves in net for LaSalle, only giving up 9 goals in the game.
For the men's first home game of the season, we sent Selena Beemack and Helen Stars to Kirkpool to capture what went down.
I'm Selena Beemack here at Kirkpool for the men's water polo home opener in their inaugural season. We've got some great footage, so check it out. The men's water polo team held their historic home opener of their inaugural season this past Monday, September 12th at Kirkpool. After recording their first win against Caltech last weekend at the Navy Open, the team looked for their second win against Villanova. The blue and gold conquered the Wildcats in an incredible victory, winning 23-5. Though the Explorers showed signs of struggles in their first few games of the season, their home opener proved that though they may be a new team, they are here to contend. The Wildcats struck quickly, scoring the first goal in the opening minutes of the game, but were no match for the Explorers. Behind the cheers of the mighty LaSalle crowd, the Explorers quickly retaliated, scoring 4 unanswered goals. The men's endurance throughout the game powered them through the first half. Despite scoring first, Villanova could not keep their momentum going, allowing LaSalle to score 15 goals by halftime. The raucous crowd was still reeling from the whirlwind of the first half by the start of the third quarter. LaSalle continued its momentum by scoring 8 more goals in the second half, while only giving up 3. Sophomore Tom Del Conte, a driver on the team, scored a game-high 4 goals. Freshman Jeff Brady, a center, also scored 4 goals for LaSalle, and freshman Luke Cianci drew 2 kickouts in the game. After capturing their first home victory in program history, the team looks forward to many more wins at Kirkpool. For SportsLine, I'm Selena Beemack.
The LaSalle field hockey team kicked off their season with a 2-0 shutout over Central Michigan. Junior Kendall Creator scored a pair of goals in the second half. Defensively, the blue and gold allowed only 11 shots on goal, none of which found the back of the net. On August 28th, though, LaSalle conceded to Vermont in a heartbreaking overtime loss. Katie O'Grady and Abby Lawrence both scored for the Explorers, earning them the lead until the final 2 minutes of play. With 1 minute and 51 seconds remaining in the second half, Vermont tied the game, sending it into overtime, and neither team scored for over 7 minutes before Vermont eventually broke the tie. And after 2 more losses against Temple and Towson, the women were hungry for a win.
That's right, Jake. After their loss to Temple, LaSalle dropped their second game to Towson in OT. History almost repeated itself just days later when the women took on Lehigh in their second win of the season. And so we've got LaSalle in blue, who opened up play with 3 shots on goal, 2 of them by Miss Abby Lawrence. But that had LaSalle pretty relaxed because they allowed Lehigh to sneak in their first shot on goal just into the net just 7 minutes in. Freshman Amanda Chapman retaliated, knocking her first collegiate goal back at the 16-minute mark. Chapman's tying goal pushed the match into a stalemate. LaSalle and Lehigh each placed 5 shots on net in the second half. Goalie Rachel Hartman made 7 saves on that day. You just saw her save, and which plunged LaSalle and Lehigh, but into overtime. But then you can see right behind the referee, LaSalle scored. That was Devin Morocco who tapped that ball in, and that marks their second win of the season.
And LaSalle's women's golf played in their first ever tournament on Saturday, September 11th through Sunday the 12th at the Navy Invitational in Annapolis. And freshman Rebecca Smith led the way for the Explorers by tying for 68th place. Smith started off her 2-day 25-over-par performance with a birdie on the first hole, the first in program history. As a team, the Explorers finished last out of the 16 teams of the tournament, but they have a long season ahead to make a splash. And switching to the men, they got their season teed off at the Bucknell Invitational in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania on Saturday, September 10th and 11th. The Explorers entered Sunday in second place out of the 15 schools, but fell to 5th by Sunday. And freshman Evan Gaser led the way for the Explorers with his 1-over-par 71 on Sunday and 3-over-par 143 for the tournament. Both scores were freshman program records, and redshirt senior PJ Asiano tied Gaser for the 9th place overall in the tournament out of 79 players. Their 143 score is the 4th lowest in 36-hole score in program history, and the next event for the Explorers begins on Monday, September 26th at the Patriot Invitational.
Domination alert. The women's volleyball squad came out of the gate stronger than ever this season, demolishing the competition for the first 6 games of the season, en route to a perfect 6-0 record. The Explorers held the best record in the entire country up until that point, and as they were the last Division I squad to lose a game. Over the course of their historic opening run, the team took down 5 of their 6 opponents in straight sets, with their only set loss coming in a 3-1 victory over St. Francis. The Explorers' streak was snapped at 6 with a loss to St. John's in straight sets. The team quickly rebounded with a win over Niagara before falling into the L column again for 3 straight matches, pulling their record to 7-4 heading into their match with Fairleigh Dickinson.
And then on September 14th, the team looked to wipe away the lose and skid up in Teaneck, New Jersey against the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights, but the Knights, they came into the match with 0 wins on the year and were determined to claim their first against a recently struggling Explorers team. The blue and gold would not allow it, however, and the match was taken in a full 5 sets, 3-2. LaSalle easily snagged the first 2 sets, but struggled to close things out with a narrow loss of 25-23 in set 3 and a large margin in set 4, 25-12. In the final set, LaSalle took a 5-1 lead early on and never relinquished, ending things at 15-3. Freshman Devin Cora was the standout star for the Explorers, recording her second double-double of the season with 19 kills and 11 digs. Wow.
That's really exciting to see this volleyball team. They're a completely different team if you've watched them.
Yeah.
We have 8 returners coming back, but 7 freshmen were added onto the squad, which is huge. We announced that back in April, but it's really great to see that happening actually in fruition, seeing this team actually come together at least a little bit, especially from that really just sad to watch season that we had last year.
And the thing that's a bit confusing though too is like I guess it wasn't the team is able to function without Taylor Height. And Taylor Height was a freshman last year who had the most points in like a season since like since I don't even remember when. But anyway, she transferred to like Miami or something. And so, dang, it's crazy that we now have a whole new base. It looks like they're pulling it together.
And Devin Cora, she's got 24 kills against St. Francis and 20 at Niagara. That was huge. And also, we just want to throw in a little bit about women's golf because 6 athletes on the roster, brand new sport. Really exciting to see that happen.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a long season. It's going to be tough, not going to show immediate results, but we'll see what happens. All right, and men's tennis competed at the Villanova Invitational starting Friday, September 9th, where they played 4 rounds against the Wildcats. In the final round, sophomore Francesca Maury and senior Brian Balaco fell to their Villanova rivals 6-3, And for the women's team, they faced off against Haverford at the Swarthmore Invitational. Freshman Allie Snyder won her first match of her collegiate career, beating her Haverford opponent in straight sets. Classmate Tiffany Theopol lost her first match, but bounced back and claimed her first victory in the second round, also winning in straight sets.
Men's soccer is killing it right now with their best start to a season since 2001. Their 5-1 record is holding its own just on itself. The season began with 2 wins against Loyola and Drexel in tight 1-0 shutouts led by senior Matt Robinson, who scored for the win in each game. The only hiccup so far came against Ryder, where we suffered a disappointing 3-0 loss. However, the Explorers bounced back against St. Peter's and won a 4-3 overtime grudge match. This brings us to last week, where Jake and new SportsLine reporter Steven Silvestri watched LaSalle take on Manhattan College.
All right, so huge OT win against St. Peter's. However, Manhattan has been in a rough place this season with an 0-3 record, and right from kickoff, the Explorers immediately took control of the midfield and just started wearing out the defenses with endless crosses and keeping the ball in the offensive. As you can kind of see, they had endless crosses going back and forth until this is in the 40th minute when Tony Danielle boots huge midfield kick to Connor Nichols for one of the cleanest headers I have seen in a long time. There for the slow-mo because our budget just got increased this year. Check that out. So they went up with 4 minutes left to go in the half. They were up by 1. And when they did come out of the half, like what you can see here is our defense was rock solid. And in the 50th minute, you can also see here as we got our second goal on the game, Hayden Criollo, he just straight up just struggled his way through there. As you can kind of see, it's a complete dog pile in there. Bounce off the ground, off the forehead, dribbler into the net. Not too shabby, I can feel it. It was his first game, our first goal. He's a sophomore. And as you can kind of see, this is where, you know, they had, Manhattan had a bunch of opportunities. They were just crossing it up left and right. However, they just could not make anything work. And then even from us, like this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Wide open, blows it wide. Just too rough. And this is actually right here, the last goal of the game for us, where Jake Salle laid out a nice corner kick to Johnny Carlante, and that is what gave us a beautiful 3-0 win against Manhattan College. And this is not too shabby at all. Beautiful, Dan McCarthy. Oh, beautiful.
Thanks, Jake. The Explorers aren't showing any signs of slowing down either. On September 13th, they headed down to Virginia to take on James Madison, where Mike Kirk had his fourth shutout over 6 games. Kennedy Coleman notched a goal from a long throw-in, and this brings the Explorers' record to 5-1. Once again, this is their best start to a season since 2001.
And women's soccer started off their season with a pair of losses at the Wake Forest Invitational in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Looking to bounce back, the Explorers returned to Philadelphia to take on Drexel on August 25th at Vitus Field. Senior phenom Deja Davis won the game for LaSalle in the 89th minute with a header into the back of the net. That confidence was key as the Explorers went on to face another Philly rival, Temple, in their opening game here at McCarthy. Senior Mary Kay Bateman scored the game's only goal in the 7th minute of play, and that goal decided to be the deciding factor as LaSalle shut out Temple 1-0. But those 2 Philly victories are the only wins on the record as the Explorers added 2 more losses against Northeastern and national champion Penn State. Their current record is 2-4. Kind of like the opposite thing going on right now. Like last year, you know, our women's soccer team, we pulled off a pretty solid season.
They made it to the semifinals in the 8-10 tournament, which we didn't even see the men do this last year.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think it's finally time that men's soccer gets its time to shine a little bit. You know, it's been it's tough when you see like a lot of these like star players. You got Union. What I'm blanking on his name. He plays for the Philadelphia Union right now. Is it John McCarthy?
John McCarthy.
Yeah, I don't know why I always forget that because that's the name of our stadium. So yeah. So anyway, no. So he's playing for the Union. You got like Joe Farrell and like those guys. And finally, we have this new group of guys, and everything seems to be meshing really well. Watching them, like the defense, spectacular.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting to see. So let's get into some headlines. Brian Quinn was named Senior Director of the Athletic Department in July. Quinn has a long history of fundraising, working on multiple political campaigns, and spent the last 7 years at Westchester as Associate Director of Development. Quinn actually worked on LaSalle alum and now Lieutenant Governor Mike Stack's State Senate seat campaign in 2000.
And redshirt 800-meter runner Chris Sanders had a marathon of races in July. He placed second at the NAAC Under-23 Championships, third in the NCAA quarterfinals, and ran in the 800-meter Olympic trials. Sanders cut it close in his races at the NACAC Championships. Sanders finished just 0.2 seconds off of Penn State's Isaiah Harris's victory, and Sanders was within a second of qualifying for semis in the Olympic trials.
And if you've been watching games recently, you might have noticed quite a few new faces on the sidelines. And that's because LaSalle welcomed a host of new coaching staff. First up is Pat Farrell. Pat Farrell actually retired from the men's soccer team last year when Joe Farrell, his son, graduated. And we're happy to welcome Rob Irvine, who's coached Penn last year and for the last 2 years at Keene. He's taken the team, taking a head position for that. Matt Goslin was named assistant coach for cross country. Sarah Anderson stepped up as assistant coach for field hockey. And Allison Heavens and Ben Whitcraft have joined the women's lacrosse staff. Two new names on the coaching roster for women's soccer are Jamie Scott, who's the new assistant coach, and former LaSalle goalkeeper Jessica Wiggins joins the staff as well.
And that right there is the brunt of the action that has occurred since the beginning of the semester. But before we go into break, I'd like to introduce a new segment on the show that explores a topic that we've never really covered here on SportsLine, and that's the fans. So please check it out. On SportsLine, we spend a lot of time covering the athletes on the field, but the real MVPs are the fans. So we sent our Pulitzer Prize winning reporter Brian Gell back into the stands to find out what's going on. This is Brian in the bleachers.
Don't sports suck? Okay, I got a date coming up later, and I was just wondering, like, do you have any advice?
Be kind.
Be kind?
Cute.
Well, you're assuming, but yes, she is cute. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. What size shoe are you?
85.
85 size?
85.
85, like, is that European? What?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know. These kids look like trouble. I'm going away. It's hard out here for a full-time broadcast major, you know, class of 2008. Are you ready for Halloween?
No.
You're not?
Oh, not yet.
Have you picked out your costume?
No, have you?
We're done. We're done. I'm offended. Can you hold this?
LOL. LOL.
You! What is this?
Subway.
Well, that's not specific. What is it?
Turkey.
Turkey what?
Turkey sub.
Show it to me. Show it to me. How is it?
I don't know. I haven't eaten it yet.
You know, we here at LaSalle, we're just really friendly. We love, you know, turning around and talking to strangers. Hey, I know this is a controversial opinion, but don't sports suck?
No. What?
What do you mean, no?
No, it's entertaining to watch. What do you do at home?
What do I do at home?
Yeah.
I don't know you that well.
Oh, okay.
Something about this guy's a little untrustworthy, so I'm just gonna go away. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so sorry about that. Yeah.
To be self-evident that all men are created equal.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
The American dream need not forever be deferred.
This is the richest and the most powerful country.
Welcome back. There is plenty of LaSalle Sports action this week, this upcoming week, so let us highlight some of the games ahead. After capturing their first home win in the history of LaSalle, men's water polo opens up conference play against Monmouth College starting on Saturday. The team joined the Mid-Atlantic Water Polo Conference in April and will compete against the likes of Mercyhurst and Salem International.
And field hockey opens up their own conference play on Friday, September 16th versus Lock Haven. Last year, the women finished just shy of making the A10 tournament, so keep on the lookout as they compete against the Eagles and St. Joe's this weekend.
And volleyball kicks off a monster weekend at the Big 5 tournament starting Friday. The women will take on Penn before they host a string of games on their home court, rubbing shoulders with Temple and Penn.
And looking to strengthen their 5-1 record, men's soccer has 2 games this week, including one against rival Penn. Cali, Montana, what a name, has the deets in this week's marquee matchup.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Marquee Matchup. I'm Cali, Montana, here to tell you about the exciting men's soccer game this weekend. The Explorers will try to keep their winning streak alive as they travel to Penn to take on the Quakers. As the regular season is getting underway, the men's soccer team is having one of their best starts since 2001, going 4-1 on the season. This past weekend, the Blue and Gold took a huge win against Manhattan, shutting them out 3-0. Connor Nichols, Hayden Criollo, and Johnny Carlente each scored goals versus Manhattan. The 3 Explorers have scored 7 goals in just the 2 last games. If the Blue and Gold continue to score and be aggressive on the field, then there is a good shot they could take down Penn, who is 0-1-3 on the season so far. If LaSalle is going to take down Penn, they're going to need a few of their key players to stay hot and help out. Junior Matt Robinson has dominated the soccer field offensively and was just named the Atlantic 10 Player of the Week, as well as the Explorer of the Week. He now has the most points and assists in the Atlantic 10 Conference and looks to keep that trend going. Robinson came up big against St. Peter's with 4 assists that helped his team capture another win in overtime. The Blue and Gold Star assisted on 5 goals last week alone to help LaSalle improve their record to 4-1. If number 6 continues to take control on the field defensively and dominates the other players around him, the Explorers are looking to be in good shape. Next up is the Explorers goalie, senior Mike Kirk. For 2 weeks in a row, Kirk has been named the Soccer 6 Defensive Player of the Week. To start the season, Kirk came up with 2 shutouts. It was not long until he did it again. Kirk came up with a big save against Manhattan, which resulted in his 3rd shutout of the season. In his senior career, Kirk has a record of 12 shutouts and looks to add more. If Kirk stays aggressive and continues to dominate the goal, he is going to be a huge asset for the Explorers. These 2 young men only make up 2 spots on the field. Now let's look at what the team as a whole can do in order to take down Penn and improve their impressive record. Number 1, they need to stay focused and not worry about trying to make LaSalle history. The men need to have their heads in the game and on the field at all times. They need to concentrate on the bigger picture, which is taking 1 game at a time and trying to come up with a win. Secondly, they need to stay driven with their new coach on deck, Rob Urban. The boys and the coach need to make sure they stay on the same page, especially as the season continues. By staying on the same page, it will make for a stronger team and stronger individual players. It's going to be an interesting but exciting game to watch this weekend. Make sure to catch this game this weekend to see if LaSalle can improve their record and continue to make history. For SportsLine, I'm Cali, Montana. Let's go, Explorers.
Thank you, Cali. That was a pretty solid marquee matchup right there, I think. Yeah, pretty nice. But forget marquee matchup. You know what time it is? It's Picks of the Week time. And I'm going to continue my authoritative reign over SportsLine with my normally correct, yes, I'm talking to you, Steve Graham, normally correct Picks of the Week, where I decide to try to predict the future and also offer commentary on it. So that brings us to pick number 1, which is Big 5 volleyball tournament on September 17th. I am calling for LaSalle to pull off a win against Penn, but a loss against Temple. A split decision, one might say. Thank you, whoever filled in the graphics. But anyway, talk about this a little bit. So LaSalle's been on probably one of its best starts of the entire season, like of the season ever for the most part, you know? With 5 straight wins, they're right up the top. However, the teams that they've been playing are not necessarily on the same level as Temple. And so Temple right now is sitting around a 4-3 record while we're sitting at 8-4. However, Temple has been playing teams like Alabama, Virginia Tech, who are juggernauts, and they lost to them, but they're getting the experience of playing against those teams. So that's the only issue that I have with that. But on the other flip side, Penn got new coaching. They're in a bit of a transition phase, and they're kind of where we were last year. And so I'm hoping that if we don't pull a win out, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But anything on that?
No, you know what? I agree with your pick on Temple because as you kind of said, Temple has been playing some really big, heavy teams, and LaSalle, I think we're ready for that, but I don't know if we're ready to contend against that yet.
Yeah. I could definitely see, like, at least if we get, like, maybe 1 or 2 sets against Temple, draw it out a little bit. But, yeah, well, time will tell. Anyway, pick number 2, we're calling field hockey at Lock Haven, September 16th. And I'm going to say tight loss on the road. I don't ever like saying that we're going to lose. But, yeah, we lost to Towson pretty brutally. And then they beat Towson, like, 8-0, and we lost to like 3-1 or something. I'm kind of scared of Lock Haven, to be honest, on the road with them. I don't even know.
Yeah, field hockey has been doing really well at home. They're one of the home court advantage, like, that's true for them. Yeah. I don't know, like, I have faith in field hockey. I see the way they play. I see the way they step up to the challenge. Yeah. I saw that game against what was the game I saw? Against Lehigh.
Yes,
I saw the game against
team.
Lehigh, and that was a really heavy game, and that was really intense. So yeah. I think they're ready to step up to that challenge against Lock Haven.
And for my final pick number 3, men's soccer versus Penn. You know what? Callie already covered it. You probably already know the fact that it's 0-1-3 for those poor guys. They are struggling, and I'm really hoping that we don't have one of those things where we come out playing pathetically or like, or just like, we don't really care. We just beat, I don't know, Manhattan. Manhattan's not even a good team either. But anyway, if they come out and if they blow this game, I'm resigning from SportsLine. So
you're not going to resign.
I'm resigning if they lose this game. So Steve Graham, if I win, I know you're somewhere back there. If I win,
Steve Graham's right behind the camera.
Yep. I get to name your firstborn. So, yeah.
Oh, we have a handshake. We have.
Yes. So either I resign or I get firstborn rights. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm really excited to see how men's soccer works out today. So, but that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the marquee matchup, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage and keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this weekend's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions about the show there.
For Helen, Selena, Callie, and our SportsLine team, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Brian. I'm Jake Smolinski. Thanks for joining. We'll see you at the game.